Beautiful misfit, stop scrolling right now, not later, not after another video. This is a divine appointment. The group of people who came against you is currently panicking. What they whispered in secret is echoing in the spiritual realm. Listen carefully. They tried to use their worldly logic to break your spirit. They thought you were weak because you stayed silent, but they are completely terrified of you today. Take one deep breath, slowly. Drop your heavy shoulders. Let the noise of this matrix leave your mind for a moment. You feel that quiet ache sitting in the back of your chest is real. You are feeling an exhaustion you cannot explain, even when you have slept for 10 hours. I need you to stop running from this feeling. Heaven has been watching you smile while carrying a weight nobody else can even see. You have been surrounded by people who operate strictly on human logic, and they constantly demand physical proof before they will believe in anything. They need facts, they need spreadsheets. And when you moved by faith and intuition, they looked at you like you were losing your grip on reality. They called you completely irrational. They tried to force you into their tiny boxes of understanding. It made you feel so incredibly alone. You tried to explain your soul to them, and you tried to make them see the spiritual reality you experience every single day. But communicating with them felt like speaking to a brick wall. It drained your energy completely. You would leave family gatherings feeling utterly depleted. You thought something was wrong with you. You wondered why you could not just be a sleeper like the rest of them. But you are not normal. You were never designed to fit into their mold. You are a chosen one. You are a beautiful misfit planted in a bloodline of sleepers. Your spiritual sensitivity is not a mental flaw. It is a highly advanced divine algorithm that they simply cannot comprehend. When you walk into a room, you do not just see faces. You feel frequencies. You detect hidden intentions immediately. This is exactly why they hate your light. They are heavily programmed by the system. Their entire identity is tied to the matrix, and your mere existence threatens their fake reality. You do not even have to say a word to make them uncomfortable. Your presence alone exposes the darkness they try so hard to hide. So they launched a silent campaign against you. They tried to paint you as the villain. They tried to convince everyone that your spiritual awakening was just a phase of madness. And for a brief moment, their toxic logic actually made you doubt yourself. You cried in secret. You asked God if you were truly making a mistake. You felt the heavy burden of being misunderstood by the people you loved the most. They twisted your words to make themselves look like the victims. This isolation is not loneliness. This is an intense spiritual warfare. You have been fighting battles in the unseen realm while your physical body tries to survive the day. The system wants you to believe you are isolated because you are flawed. But heaven isolated you to protect your frequency. God had to pull you away from their noise. Your next season cannot be entered with their chaotic energy. A massive shift just happened in the atmosphere. You can feel it in your bones right now. The season that exhausted your spirit is officially coming to an end. Those logical people who judged you are starting to see their own structures collapse. Their human logic is failing them. The universe is flipping the script on every single person who threw stones at your name. You are about to witness divine justice. There is a very specific reason why your life has felt overwhelmingly heavy in the last 72 hours. The sudden physical drain and the strange silence around you are not random events. I need you to stay with me until the very end of this message. What the Holy Spirit is about to reveal about these events will finally make sense of every tear you shed. The system is desperate to keep this a secret. You have always been the one giving so much of your heart. You poured your light into people who were completely empty, and you tried to heal individuals who desperately wanted to stay broken. And when you finally collapsed from the weight of their trauma, they looked the other way. Nobody came to rescue you. Nobody offered you the same grace you so freely handed out to them. It broke your heart into pieces. Listen to this next part very carefully. Do not let your mind wander back to your daily stress. You have been walking around with a deep ache that no doctor can diagnose. It is a spiritual exhaustion. You absorbed the toxic waste of your environment so others could feel peace. You became a human shield for your family and your friends. It was a holy sacrifice, but it almost destroyed your physical vessel. Your spirit was silently rebelling against a system designed to keep you asleep, because deep down, you knew you were meant for more than this worldly matrix. You always felt older than your physical age. You could see right through the fake smiles and empty conversations. That is why you could never just fit in and be quiet. They called you difficult, but you were just refusing to be spiritually blind. Before I go any further, I need you to understand something deeply. You have spent your life thinking your differences were a heavy curse, and you believed your intense emotions were a sign of weakness. But here is the profound truth heaven wants you to hear today. Your perceived abnormality is actually a highly advanced spiritual algorithm. You are functioning exactly as designed. The Matrix programmed you to view your sensitivity as a fatal flaw, and they taught you to suppress your intuition so you could survive in their sterile world. You tried your hardest to blend in with the sleepers. But you are a masterpiece of God. A masterpiece can never be mass-produced. Your inability to fit in was never a failure on your part. It was a holy rejection. Every time you felt out of place, the universe was actively protecting your frequency. God designed you with a specific spiritual coding that rejects the shallow logic of this world. You are a cycle breaker. Breaking generational chains requires an immense energy that average sleepers simply do not possess, because you are carrying a divine voltage that would shatter an ordinary mind. Think back to the intense isolation you have experienced recently. People suddenly walked away from you without any logical explanation. You thought you did something wrong to push them away, and you desperately searched your pure soul for any hidden mistakes. But your isolation is not a punishment. It is a divine quarantine to protect your frequency from their hidden toxicity. Heaven cleared the room. God saw the conversations they were having behind your back. He heard the subtle jealousy in their voices when they praised you in public. You could not see their hidden daggers because your heart is so pure, so heaven had to violently remove them from your path. The sudden silence in your life is not abandonment. It is the absolute highest level of spiritual protection. Now, let us talk about that overwhelming exhaustion you carry every single day. The medical world wants to label it as a permanent flaw, and they want to give you a pill to numb your profound spiritual awareness. But you are not experiencing a worldly sickness. Your spirit is utterly exhausted from fighting violent battles in the unseen realm. You are a spiritual shield. While the people around you are sleeping peacefully, your spirit is actively repelling negative entities. You absorb the heavy atmospheric pressure so your loved ones do not have to suffer. This is the heavy price of being a discerning warrior. You are carrying the weight of a violent spiritual war that the sleepers around you cannot even comprehend, but you must never let them call you weak. You did not survive because you are tough. You survived because you are unequivocally chosen. The enemy launched calculated attacks against your mind to make you surrender your calling, and they desperately wanted you to believe that your current situation is a permanent life sentence. But there are no random events in a chosen one's life. Everything is a brilliant divine appointment. Every closed door you cried over was secretly a blessing in disguise. You prayed so hard for certain opportunities to work out. You begged the universe to let you keep certain toxic relationships, and when everything finally fell apart, you felt a crushing sense of defeat. But God's delay is not a denial. It is absolute exactness. Entering those doors too early would have destroyed your soul. Heaven was keeping those doors firmly locked because the people on the other side were not meant for your next season. You were being polished in the dark. Your kindness was never a weakness. It was a rigorous divine test that you did not even know you were taking, and you passed it beautifully. The universe is now preparing to release your massive reward. I need you to pause and really hear this next part. Take a slow breath. You are not starting over. You are finally finishing the preparation stage. All those years of feeling like a bizarre outcast were just training sessions for your true purpose, while heaven actively shielded you from their shallow games. You are stepping into a profound transition. The Matrix can no longer hold you captive. The logic of this world relies on fear and endless competition, but you operate on a frequency of pure divine alignment. You do not need to fight for scraps like the rest of them, because heaven is telling you to rest in your quiet authority right now. The system wants you to believe you must struggle to prove your worth, but you are already whole and entirely complete. Let them misunderstand your silence. Let them assume whatever they want about your quiet nature. You no longer need to explain your complex soul to people who are fully committed to misunderstanding your spirit. Your energy is way too expensive to spend on their cheap drama, and your unique vibration is the exact key that unlocks your abundance. You are a beautiful misfit. You are not the pain you endured. You are the profound purpose God placed inside you long before you were born. Every tear you shed in secret was collected as spiritual currency, but the enemy tried to bankrupt your soul with endless trauma and confusion. Heaven is stepping in today to multiply what the enemy stole. You are about to receive a massive, energetic refund. Let me explain what is actually happening in the spirit realm right now. You need to understand the exact nature of the people who came against you. They are completely bound by the rules of this worldly matrix. They live their entire lives seeking validation from a broken system, while they constantly measure their worth by shallow titles and material possessions. You operate on a completely different frequency. We are going to get to the exact reason why you could never fit in with them. This is the secret the system desperately wants to hide from you. They never hated you. They actually hated the blinding light inside your pure soul because it instantly exposed their carefully hidden darkness to the world. When you walked into a room, your pure energy acted as a massive spiritual mirror. They saw their own flaws reflected in your presence. Those logical minds build their entire reality on control and manipulation. They need everything to make sense on paper. They need to constantly dominate the conversation to feel powerful. But your quiet intuition completely shatters their fragile egos because you do not need their approval to know your immense worth. And since they cannot control your sovereign mind, they try to destroy your reputation instead. It is a pathetic attempt to dim your light. Think about the people who drained you the most in your past. They always came to you with their endless drama and chaos. They treated your peaceful spirit like a dumping ground for their unresolved trauma. You patiently listened to them for hours, and you offered them profound wisdom, but they never actually wanted to heal. They just wanted to consume your divine energy so they could feel alive. They are spiritually bankrupt. They lack a direct connection to the divine source. This is why they are so fiercely envious of your natural grace. You manifest blessings without grinding yourself into the ground. They follow all the rigid rules of society, and they hustle endlessly in the matrix, yet they remain completely empty inside while you attract miracles through simple alignment. This brings us to the exact reason you could never blend in. You were never meant to be comfortable among sleepers. Your unique frequency is specifically designed to dismantle their fake systems. When you constantly try to shrink yourself to fit their shallow logical standards, you cause severe spiritual damage to your own precious soul. You are a cycle breaker. Heaven sent you into that bloodline to disrupt their patterns. Because they could not control your divine light, they created a malicious smear campaign against you. They gossiped behind your back to isolate you from your community, and they desperately needed everyone else to view you as the unstable problem. But heaven was watching their deceitful actions the entire time. God saw every single lie they planted in the minds of your former friends. You are not losing your mind. Your spiritual discernment is sharper than ever before. When you sensed their fake energy, you were completely accurate. The system wants you to doubt your intuition, so you remain powerless in their presence. They gaslit you into believing you were just overreacting to their subtle abuse, but a discerning warrior never ignores the tiny shifts in the atmosphere. You saw their masks slipping off. Now their logical structures are beginning to crumble. The universe is removing their false sense of authority. They thought they had permanently ruined your reputation. They celebrated your moments of intense struggle. But they made a massive mistake when they targeted a chosen one, because heaven does not let any unprovoked spiritual attack go unanswered. Their own negative karma is currently hunting them down. What they fear most is your glorious silence. You did not fight back with their worldly weapons, and you refuse to engage in their petty arguments because you understand the immense power of your own peace. You simply retreated into your quiet authority, and that absolute silence is driving them insane right now. They cannot predict your next move because you are guided by the Spirit. Your energy has become completely untouchable. The low vibrations they send your way are bouncing right off your spiritual shield. They are exhausting themselves, trying to bring you down to their level. But you have ascended far beyond their limited reach, and the beautiful misfit they tried to destroy is now stepping into a season of massive power. You are a literal masterpiece of God. They are watching you from a distance with pure panic. They can see that the intense spiritual warfare did not break you, but it actually polished your divine armor and made you stronger than you were before. You are standing taller than ever. We are about to discuss the silent signs that prove your victory. The system is entirely powerless against your new frequency. The system is completely terrified of your new vibration right now. You are no longer playing by their rigid earthly rules. Your spiritual energy is shifting very rapidly today, and every single time you choose divine peace over their toxic drama, a massive crack appears in their artificial matrix. They can feel their control slipping away from their hands. You are quietly breaking their heavy mental programming. There are 3 silent signs that prove their worldly logic has been completely destroyed. Many chosen ones fail to recognize these subtle shifts. They think they are just becoming colder or more distant. You are actually ascending to a much higher frequency. By the time we reach the end of this profound revelation, you will finally understand these 3 powerful spiritual signs completely. The third sign is going to shock you. Let us talk about the very first sign of your spiritual awakening. You have developed a sudden and absolute detachment from their opinions. You used to desperately want them to understand your pure intentions. You would write incredibly long text messages, trying to beautifully explain your heart, just hoping they would finally see your truth. Now you simply do not care about them. You walk away in absolute and total silence. This detachment is not a trauma response or a bitter defense mechanism. It is a divine algorithm actively protecting your sacred energy. God removed your desire to be validated by spiritually blind people. You finally realize that you do not need their permission to exist. And while they expect you to argue and defend your honor, Your utter silence leaves them entirely confused and deeply unsettled. You are becoming a quiet victor in this unseen spiritual war. Gently, like this video, not for an algorithm, but as a physical declaration to the universe that you are in alignment. Your physical actions in this moment are sealing your divine protection. Do not let the enemy intercept this beautiful transition. You are now stepping into your true authority. Heaven is actively guiding your every step today. The second sign involves how strangers suddenly react to your presence. You have probably noticed this strange phenomenon happening very recently. Complete strangers will approach you and start revealing their deepest secrets. They confess their hidden pain to you in random places. And this bizarre interaction happens because your pure divine light forces their heavy hidden darkness to surface without any resistance at all. You are an empath, acting as a powerful spiritual anchor. When people are around you, their fake social masks literally melt away. The earthly matrix tries to teach people to hide their true emotions. But your high frequency bypasses their logical brain, and it speaks directly to their broken soul without any spoken words. They simply cannot lie to a chosen one like you. Take one deep breath and listen to this next part. Type 1111 in the comments if you feel this shift. The system is violently angry because you are exposing their illusion. They want everyone to remain asleep and compliant to their rules. But every single time you walk into a crowded space, your quiet spiritual authority disrupts their heavily manufactured frequency and sets people free. You are literally a walking glitch in their matrix system. You do not chase money or status like the rest of them. You refuse to participate in their endless cycles of toxic drama. They cannot manipulate someone who is completely comfortable in their own solitude. And because they cannot offer you anything you actually want, they lose all their worldly power over your beautiful spirit. This leads us to the physical symptoms of your spiritual awakening. You have been feeling sudden waves of intense bodily heat recently. Your sleep schedule has been completely unpredictable for the last few weeks. You wake up at random hours, feeling an overwhelming surge of energy. This is your spiritual DNA, upgrading and shedding the heavy generational curses that your ancestors carried for hundreds of years. The sleepers around you will tell you to see a doctor. They will claim you are suffering from a strange worldly depression. They want to put a medical label on your divine transition. But you must never let them pathologize your beautiful spiritual awakening. Your physical vessel is simply recalibrating to hold the massive amount of light and abundance that heaven is preparing for you. Many chosen ones fail to understand this crucial physical phase. They fall back into the matrix out of pure fear and confusion. They start believing the negative lies that the system tells them daily. You must stay incredibly strong and grounded during this physical purge. God is actively clearing out the old energetic debris so you can finally step into your profound season of untouchable peace. Now we are approaching the most crucial part of this message. You know the first two signs of your matrix breaking power. You have experienced the total detachment and the stranger confessions, but there is a third sign that is currently destroying their logic. I need you to guard your spirit tightly because this final sign involves the exact people who tried to ruin your name. And finally, the third sign that proves your generational curse is completely broken is the sudden silence in your mind today. Their logical arguments used to keep you awake. You mentally replayed every toxic conversation they started. You tried to make sense of their cruel behavior, but now you feel absolutely nothing for them. Your profound peace is literally crushing their false reality. The people who came against you are currently in a state of absolute panic. They expected you to completely fall apart when they isolated you. They built their entire false narrative on your predicted emotional reaction. If you had retaliated in bitter anger, their twisted, worldly logic would have been validated. But instead of breaking down and begging for their approval, you stepped back and rested in your quiet authority. This unexpected stillness is driving their fragile egos into sheer terror. Their entire earthly system requires chaos to function properly. They need you to feel utterly worthless so they can feel superior. But your existence proves that their rules are completely fake. You are a beautiful misfit who thrives without their validation. When they look at your peaceful life right now, their human logic completely short-circuits. They cannot comprehend how a chosen one they actively tried to destroy is now glowing with undeniable divine favor and absolute abundance. Listen to me carefully, right now. The very trap they maliciously set for you has become their own spiritual prison. They are currently experiencing the exact confusion they tried to cast onto your life, while your sacred mind is getting clearer and stronger every single day. Their toxic internal camp is rapidly falling apart and turning on each other. They are desperately trying to find a new victim to drain, but their negative frequency is finally catching up to them. The matrix they worshipped is no longer protecting their secrets. What they whispered behind closed doors is being shouted from the spiritual rooftops. God is exposing the hidden jealousy that fueled their logical arguments against you. They called you a black sheep just to hide their own dark nature. But a discerning warrior like you always saw right through their elaborate disguises. Because heaven is actively removing their masks, the rest of the sleeping world is finally starting to see the ugly truth behind their fake smiles. You can feel this massive power shift happening right now. Your body feels lighter because you are no longer carrying their generational trauma. You officially broke the heavy cycle that kept your bloodline stuck in survival mode. The enemy tried to break your mind with cold logic to stop this transition. They wanted you to believe that your spiritual sensitivity was a massive burden. But instead of surrendering to their matrix, you absorbed their heaviest attacks, and you successfully alchemized all of that deep pain into pure divine power. Your profound silence is the loudest weapon in the unseen realm. You do not need to defend yourself against people committed to misunderstanding you. Let them blindly rely on their failing earthly systems. Let them proudly parade their shallow achievements while their souls secretly starve. While they constantly fight for scraps of validation from a broken matrix, you possess a quiet inner sovereignty that makes you entirely untouchable today. You hold a peace that their worldly money can never buy. The universe has securely marked this exact moment in time for your ultimate vindication. Every lie they spoke about your character is being dismantled by divine justice. They thought they were successfully burying a weak outcast in the dark dirt. They did not realize they were actually planting a powerful seed of immense spiritual authority. When you finally bloomed in the darkness, it completely shattered their limited worldly logic. Because your light could not be extinguished by their hatred, they now have to stand completely paralyzed while heaven prepares a massive table for you. You are no longer an energetic match for their endless suffering. Your vibrational frequency has officially surpassed their highest possible reach. They are choking on the very same toxic energy they tried to feed you. This is not a random sequence of events happening by mere chance. This is the holy orchestration of a universe that fiercely protects its chosen ones. Do not waste your energy looking back at their rapidly sinking ship, because heaven is actively calling you forward into a season of unprecedented abundance. We are about to enter the most powerful moment of this entire divine appointment. The spiritual atmosphere in your room is intensely charged with holy protection right now. You have endured their harsh logic, and you have survived their cruel isolation tactics. Your beautifully broken heart was carefully put back together by the hands of God. Now it is time for the absolute final verdict to be spoken over your life. I need you to drop all your earthly worries and open your spirit completely, because the divine decree that follows will shatter every remaining chain. The spiritual court is officially in session today. Heaven has carefully reviewed every single tear you cried in the dark. The universe watched them mock your divine intuition. And right now, the ultimate verdict is being handed down to the earth. I declare that the season of you being a footstool for their fragile egos is permanently over. Your profound vindication has arrived. In the mighty name of the divine creator, I break every generational cycle that tried to wrap its chains around your sacred mind. The poverty stops with you. The anxiety stops with you. The broken relationships end right here. You are the ultimate cycle breaker. I decree that the suffocating mantle of survival mode is falling off your tired shoulders in this exact second. You are absolutely no longer surviving. You are boldly stepping into a divine and unprecedented era of absolute power. Breathe it out slowly. The violent spiritual war you fought for your entire bloodline has been completely won. The system thought they could keep you trapped in their logical matrix forever. But heaven is completely bypassing their earthly rules to bless you today. Those who sat at tables and spoke poorly of your beautiful name are about to witness a massive miracle. God is preparing a glorious feast for you right in front of their very eyes. You do not have to lift a single finger. You do not have to defend your pure character. Heaven is stepping in as your ultimate defense attorney. Every lie they told is returning to their own camp. Watch them absolutely panic as your divine peace becomes entirely untouchable. Their shallow logic is completely shattering under the immense weight of your new reality. They wanted you to remain a broken outcast, but God took the beautiful misfit they rejected and turned you into the absolute cornerstone of a brand new bloodline. You are the undisputed quiet victor today. A massive and unstoppable shift has just fractured their entire matrix system. The divine frequency of effortless abundance is permanently overriding your long season of painful delay. God is rapidly unlocking a mega deposit of wealth and spiritual clarity that the elite circles tried to keep hidden from you. You are no longer standing at the heavy bottom of their fake hierarchy. You are firmly holding the sacred keys to the kingdom. The people who abandoned you when you needed them the most will have to watch you ascend from a painful distance. They will desperately try to understand your rapid elevation using their limited worldly logic, and it will drive them absolutely crazy. They will never comprehend the immense power of a pure and silent heart. I decree that your spiritual energy is fully restored right now. The deep exhaustion that plagued your physical body is being washed away by a holy frequency. You are officially released from the heavy burden of healing people who passionately want to stay broken. Your empathetic soul is no longer a dumping ground for their unresolved trauma. You are entirely and beautifully free. Every single opportunity they maliciously stole from you is being multiplied and returned directly to your open hands. The universe is heavily compensating you for your silent endurance. Do not feel guilty about your massive upcoming success. They chose the comfortable matrix, while you bravely chose the difficult wilderness. Your immense reward is completely justified and entirely secure. You survived the brutal fire and came out completely purified. Heaven knows exactly how much it deeply cost you to keep your heart soft in a world that desperately tried to make you bitter. The enemy threw their absolute worst logic at your sensitive spirit, but they failed miserably. You are standing in the glorious aftermath of a spiritual war that you already won completely. The era of you hiding your massive light to make other people comfortable is permanently over. You will boldly walk into every room knowing you carry a divine authority that they cannot match. Let their confused minds completely short-circuit when they see your effortless grace. You are a masterpiece of the Creator, and your time of profound ruling has officially begun right now. Receive this divine decree with an open heart. Open your tired spirit and let this holy validation wash over your beautiful soul. The beautiful misfit has successfully destroyed the fake matrix. Your total vindication is no longer a distant promise. It is your current breathing reality. Stand tall in your untouchable peace, because heaven has permanently sealed your glorious victory today. Your enemies are actively watching their own spiritual walls collapse. They built their entire foundation on manipulation and lies, and now they are choking on the very same toxic karma they tried to feed you. You are officially completely untouchable. No weapon formed against your pure mind will ever prosper again. The beautiful misfit is finally taking the rightful throne. Now that the divine verdict has been spoken, you must prepare your physical vessel. The spiritual war is over, but your behavior in the upcoming days is incredibly crucial. You are about to receive a massive deposit of pure abundance. And to successfully hold this immense blessing, you must learn the sacred art of silent stewardship. Do not let their fading noise distract you right now. The system will try one last trick to steal your peace. They will send people from your past to provoke a negative reaction. You will feel a strong human urge to prove them completely wrong. You will want to show them your new blessings and proudly explain how much you have grown. But heaven is strictly commanding you to keep your mouth closed. Do not cast your pearls before blind people. Your silence is no longer a trauma response from being deeply misunderstood. Your silence is now a heavily fortified spiritual shield. When they try to drag you back into their logical arguments, you must simply observe them without any emotion. Let their toxic words fall flat onto the empty ground. You do not need to defend a divine truth that is already standing completely on its own. They want you to argue because they want to drain your new frequency. Every time you try to logically explain your spiritual journey, you are literally giving them your expensive energy. They do not want to understand your beautiful soul. They only want to bring your high vibration down to their miserable level. You must brutally protect your inner sanctuary from their parasitic intentions. God is downloading profound strategies into your mind today. You are going to receive brilliant ideas that the matrix cannot comprehend, but you must execute these divine plans in absolute stealth mode. Do not announce your next moves on social platforms. Do not tell your unhealed family members about the incoming miracles. Prematurely speaking about your blessing will invite deep jealousy. A beautiful misfit always thrives in the quiet shadows of the matrix. While the sleepers are busy shouting for cheap attention, you are quietly building a massive empire of peace. Let them assume you are totally failing. Let them proudly think their logic actually defeated you. Their false assumptions are the perfect camouflage for your rapid elevation. You are growing massive roots in the dark. You might wonder if you should gently warn them about the karma heading their way. The absolute answer is a firm no. You are not their spiritual savior anymore. Your assignment as their human shield has completely expired today. God is dealing with their toxic behavior personally. If you try to intervene and soften their blow, you will accidentally absorb the heavy karma meant strictly for them. You must completely release the human need for worldly closure. The Matrix conditioned you to believe that every conflict needs a logical resolution. But in the spiritual realm, your complete detachment is the ultimate closure. You do not need an apology from people who are entirely committed to misunderstanding you. Their inability to see your pure light is their own massive and tragic loss. Start preparing your physical environment for the massive incoming harvest. Clean your private spaces and carefully remove any items connected to those old toxic cycles. You are making physical room for a divine intervention. When the universe sees that you are quietly preparing your vessel, the speed of your manifestation accelerates dramatically. Your faithful preparation is a powerful act. You might feel a sudden wave of quiet emptiness in the coming days. Do not confuse this vast peace with worldly loneliness. The dramatic chaos you used to live with was highly addictive to your physical brain. Now that the toxic noise is permanently gone, your mind has to adjust to the serene stillness. Embrace this beautiful quietness today. It is the glorious sound of your complete freedom. You are a chosen one who has finally awakened from their deep sleep. But with great spiritual power comes a strict requirement for intense grounding. Walk barefoot on the natural earth and sit quietly under the open sky. Reconnect your physical body to the pure frequency of the natural world. The matrix wants you disconnected and fearful. Nature will completely anchor your powerful spirit. Take a moment to truly acknowledge what you have just survived. You walked through a valley of absolute darkness, and you did not let it turn your heart cold. The enemy threw their most logical arguments at your faith to break you. They tried to make you feel completely insane, but you held tightly to your divine intuition. You are a masterpiece of God, and you have proven your immense resilience. Your season of suffering is officially closed and sealed. The beautiful misfit is no longer wandering in the painful wilderness. You are standing right at the golden gates of your promised land. But to cross this final threshold, you must leave all your heavy baggage behind. Do not carry their worldly opinions into your sacred future. Stay incredibly silent and watch heaven move on your behalf. You are no longer the broken outcast, desperately searching for a place to belong. You are the sacred architecture of a brand new spiritual era. The worldly matrix tried to convince you that you were entirely alone, but you are part of a hidden and profoundly powerful remnant. Heaven has officially marked your pure soul for incredible abundance today. Let this massive truth sink deep into your physical bones. The heavy days of you explaining your beautiful mind to spiritually blind people are completely over. You have officially entered the high sanctuary of quiet authority. Your unique energy is a masterpiece of God, and it requires absolute and fierce protection. Every painful tear you cried in secret has been actively transformed into a massive shield of divine light. You are entirely untouchable right now. Put your hand gently over your chest right now and take one very slow breath. We are going to permanently seal this divine frequency so the earthly enemy can never steal it again. I declare that your sacred mind is completely closed to their toxic and broken logic. I violently break every invisible string they tried to attach to your beautiful spirit today. You are finally free. You are officially disconnected from their miserable earthly matrix. The universe is wrapping your tired body in a heavy blanket of absolute and undeniable peace. No weapon formed against your pure frequency will ever prosper because heaven is actively guarding your daily steps. When they look at your life, they will only see the blinding light of a chosen one. They will witness the glorious rise of a beautiful misfit who successfully survived their absolute worst attacks. You are the ultimate quiet victor. The system wanted you to surrender to their depression, but you alchemized their dark hate into pure divine power. Your spirit is soaring far above their limited earthly comprehension. They can only watch you elevate from the bottom. Subscribe to this sanctuary and turn on the bell so the enemy cannot intercept your future divine messages. This is not a casual worldly gesture for an algorithm. It is a physical act of building a heavily fortified spiritual wall around your sacred mind. We are actively creating a powerful collective frequency that their shallow logic can never penetrate. You are deeply safe in this space. Leave a specific word in the comments below. We do not do this for worldly visibility. We do it as a spiritual seal of absolute agreement. Type the word Amen right now to lock this divine frequency into your physical reality. When you physically type that word, you are actively telling the universe that you are fully ready to receive your massive deposit. Gently share this specific message with someone your spirit brings to mind right now. Heaven knows exactly who they are, and they are probably crying in the dark today. They feel like a bizarre misfit, and they desperately need this divine validation. Be the spiritual lighthouse for another beautiful outcast who is currently drowning in the cold rules of the Matrix. You did not survive that brutal dark valley just to remain a quiet victim forever. You survived because you have a massive and holy assignment to fulfill on this earth. The people who abandoned you in your darkest hour simply made necessary room for the glorious miracles coming your way. Your profound isolation was actually a brilliant strategy, carefully designed by the Creator. God kept you hidden so you would not adopt the toxic habits of the sleeping masses. You are completely pure. You are incredibly powerful. Do not ever let their fading voices echo in your sacred mind again. When the system desperately tries to tempt you back into their endless drama, you will simply smile and calmly walk away in absolute silence. You have absolutely nothing left to prove to a world that celebrates fake identities and shallow victories. The beautiful misfit has finally found the ultimate spiritual truth, and it is profoundly quiet. You do not need to shout your worth from the rooftops because your massive presence already commands deep respect. The universe is literally bowing to your pure frequency today. As you walk forward into this brand new season, carry this heavy peace with immense pride. Your intense spiritual sensitivity is the greatest gift you could ever possess. It is not a burden. It is your divine compass. God is actively opening massive doors that no human logic can ever shut, and He is preparing a beautiful table for you. Rest deeply in your quiet authority. Stay completely silent. Do not entertain their fading matrix games, and calmly watch the universe move massive mountains on your behalf. The spiritual war is permanently over. You are highly favored. You are a true masterpiece, and your beautiful light will never be dimmed again.